Welcome back to Newstalgia, the show where we find out what happens when something old becomes something new. This week we'll be looking at Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. As mentioned in the first Spyro video, you can only get this game by purchasing the Spyro Reignited trilogy. As also mentioned before, I grew up on Spyro and have always really enjoyed the character. I remember picking up Ripto's Rage after sinking countless hours into the first game. At the time, I absolutely loved it. It felt like a true sequel. They didn't change things up completely, but made enough changes to make it feel different. Playing through it again, I had some mixed feelings. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed the experience, but when comparing it to the first one, I felt story-wise I wasn't as invested. I really enjoyed the concept of going around trying to save all the dragons that were your friends and role models in the first game. It made it a personal journey for the character. While this game has you visiting multiple worlds and focused on helping a variety of different characters, it's nice in the sense that there is such a huge variety, but again, emotionally I didn't feel as invested. Another thing is, while Ripto is an interesting villain, I feel as though Nasty Nork felt like more of a threat. Ripto felt more like a joke, but an interesting joke at least. This game also introduced some interesting side characters, like Alora and Hunter. Overall, the game still has that enjoyable Spyro gameplay that I grew up on and love. Just like the first game, this one has been given an absolutely beautiful remake. The graphics have been updated so well. You can tell a lot of time and effort went into this. One of the downfalls of this game, though, I do have to admit, is that while they've added so many different minigames and things to do in each world, every time you visit a new world, there isn't really a clear path of all the side objectives that you need to do. The first one was always pretty straightforward and it was easier to understand what you have to do as side objectives. Going back to the graphics though, honestly they just look so good. I could see somebody unfamiliar with the character experiencing it for the first time on these systems, assuming that it was made for these systems and not realizing that it was originally released on PlayStation 1. Again, you can't buy this separately, so if you want to experience this, you'd have to buy the trilogy, but honestly, I say it's worth it. Ripto's Rage alone gave me a good 6 hours of game time, and that was rushing through it. Games like Spyro Reignited Trilogy, Resident Evil 2 Remake, and Ratchet & Clank are just the best kind of examples of how much effort and work should be put into these remakes. These games mean a lot to people and deserve the proper treatment. There are ports and HD remasters that you can tell received absolutely no effort. With those games, you can tell it's the developers just trying to milk the consumers. With these games, well hey, they are making money off of this. They're also putting a lot of love and work into them, making it easily worth that money. As I said in the first Spyro review, if you love platformers, want a game you could play with your kids, or just grew up on Spyro like I did, this game comes highly recommended. Until next time, this has been Newstalgia.